Jai Shri Radhe. सब वैष्णवों को जय श्री कृष्ण, श्री वल्लभाधीश की जय, श्री गोसाई जी की जय, 252 वैष्णव की जय हो. Continuing with day 55 with the biographies of the 252 Vaishnav disciples of Sri Gosai Ji. Commencing in part 1 of Varta 33. Govinda Das began to serve Sri Gosai Ji. Whenever Sri Gosai Ji had completed Sri Navneet Priyaji's ornamentation, Govinda Das would tie on his ankle bells and dance in front of him. On the occasion of Sri Radhashtami, Sri Radhaji's appearance day, Sri Gosai Ji and all his siblings went to Raval. Here in Gokul, Sri Gosai Ji's sister Shobha Betaji filled the water pot for the afternoon service. After this, Govinda Das danced before Sri Navneet Priyaji. He was completely absorbed in the nectar of divine loving mood. One of his ankle bell bracelets broke, and Sri Navneet Priyaji gave him one of his ankle bracelets to wear. Govinda Das was still in his trance, and he went on dancing until well into the evening. Sri Gosai Ji and his siblings returned from Raval and learnt that the afternoon service was still continuing. He went into the temple to say something, but Sri Navneet Priyaji stopped him and told him to say nothing. The dance went on halfway through the night. Then Shobha Betaji realised what was going on. She offered Sri Navneet Priyaji his evening meals, accepted the offering back as prasad, performed the nighttime arati, and then settled the Lord down to rest. Thus concludes Varta 33, the story of Govinda Das, who was Sri Gosai Ji's personal servant and the recipient of his great grace, and an accomplished Vaishnav who used to regularly dance for Sri Navneet Priyaji. He was always completely full of the nectar of loving mood. It is impossible to tell his whole tale, since it is truly incomprehensible. Now we continue with Varta 34, the story of a Gujarati Brahmin, part 1. This Gujarati Brahmin had come from Gujarat to Vraj. He first of all came to Mathura and bathed at Vishram Ghat. He then thought to himself, I have heard that Sri Gokul is a holy spot, so let me go there and have the sight of Sri Gokul and Sri Gosai Ji. After that I shall circumambulate the whole of Vraj. Thinking thus, the Brahmin went to Gokul from Mathura. When he arrived, Sri Gosai Ji was performing his midday prayers on Sri Thakurani Ghat after offering Sri Navneet Priyaji his lunchtime meal. The Brahmin caught sight of Sri Gosai Ji and felt the deep desire to become his disciple. He prostrated to Sri Gosai Ji and supplicated with folded hands, "O great Maharaj, please bless me and accept me as your disciple." Sri Gosai Ji told him to go bathe in Sri Yamunaji before coming back to him. He did just that, and Sri Gosai Ji initiated him with the Lord's name and Brahma Sambandh. When Sri Gosai Ji was on his way to his service of Sri Navneet Priyaji in the temple, he asked the Brahmin what he would now like to do. He replied that he would like to have the holy sight of Sri Navneet Priyaji and Sri Govardhanaji, and then set off to travel the whole of the Vraja area. Sri Gosai Ji took the Brahmin with him into the temple. Sri Gosai Ji told him to sit on the entrance step. Sri Gosai Ji proceeded into the temple, accepted back the lunchtime offerings as prasad, washed and dried the Lord's face, presented him with some filled palm leaves, opened the doors for the gathered devotees to have his holy sight, and then performed the Rajbhog Arati. When he had thus had the holy sight of Sri Navneet Priyaji, the Brahmin felt overjoyed. Then Sri Gosai Ji settled the Lord down for his afternoon nap and went to his betak, where he addressed the Brahmin. "O Brahmin, please partake of prasad here today." Sri Gosai Ji proceeded indoors to take his prasad. When he had finished, he washed his hands and mouth, ate some pan leaves, and served to the Brahmin his plate out of which he had eaten. The Brahmin felt most joyous. Sri Gosai Ji was going to take a nap when the Brahmin asked him his permission for him to go the next morning to Sri Giriraji to have the holy sight of Sri Govardhanaji, and then to leave for his tour of Vraj. Sri Gosai Ji agreed. After his nap, Sri Gosai Ji bathed, woke Sri Navneet Priyaji from his nap, then completed the afternoon sevas, Bhog, Sandhya and Sen. Then he went to sit in his betak on his cushions and pillows. The Brahmin had the holy sight of all of these sevas and was very happy. In the morning he set out for Sri Giriraji. There he had the holy sight of Sri Govardhanaji's Rajbhog Arti and was again most happy. He then set off to circumambulate Braj. When he had completed his tour, he returned to Gokul, bowed to Sri Gosai Ji and asked him, "O Maharaj, I would really like to have some seva for me to do personally. Please grant me some seva." Prakash, Bhav Prakash. In the eternal Leela, this Brahmin is a Sakhi of Rohini, manifested from Rohini, and thus a form of her divine loving mood, whose name is Gop Devi, of Rajasi disposition. Gop Devi lives in Nanda's home and is always engaged in serving Sri Thakurji there. Here then the Brahmin had the wish to directly serve the Lord. Part 1 continued. Sri Gosaiji then went to Mathura and the Brahmin accompanied him there. He went to the market, and there in a shop where the owner used to make lots of deities, he selected one and then sat down, saying to the Brahmin, "Go to that crafter of deities in his shop, pay for that deity and bring it here." The Brahmin paid for the deity and brought it to Sri Gosaiji, who cast his glance over the deity, which was a very beautiful child Krishna Swarup. He was wearing bangles on his hands. Sri Gosaiji was very happy and told the Brahmin to later bring the deity to him. The Brahmin, however, approached the shopkeeper and asked him to take the bangles off the deity's hands. The shopkeeper said it was too late in the evening for him to do it then and there, and that the Brahmin should come back in the morning. The Vaishnava Brahmin removed the bangles from that deity's hands himself and kept the bangles. He left the deity there and came to Sri Gosaiji and sat on the doorstep to the Baitak. The Lord took the form of a Brajwasi boy, came to Sri Gosaiji and said, "That Vaishnava took my bangles off." He said this 3 times. Bhav Prakash. The meaning of this story is that once Sri Gosaiji had cast his glance over that deity, it became Krishna himself. So how could he be left in the market? He used the bangles as an excuse to convey this. Plus, the Brahmin was to be starting to make his seva and would therefore need total faith and form realization. The Lord did all of this to seal that Brahmin's faith. Sri Gosaiji called the Vaishnava Brahmin. This is part 1 continued. Sri Gosaiji called the Vaishnava Brahmin to him and chastised him for acting in this way. The Brahmin admitted to him what he had done, and at that moment, in the middle of the night, went to that shopkeeper and asked for the deity, which he gave. The Brahmin brought the deity and said to Sri Gosaiji, "O Maharaj, I have brought the Krishna deity." Sri Gosaiji bathed that deity in the 5 nectars, dried him, dressed him in clothes and jewellery suitable for the season, cooked and made offerings to him, and thereafter gave the Swarup to the Brahmin to be responsible for his seva. He then explained to that Brahmin all the ways of seva with seasonal and daily considerations and all the yearly festivals. The Brahmin began to serve, and it was not long before that Thakurji granted him the bliss of his personal experience. Thus concludes Varta 34, the story of the Brahmin who was a recipient of Sri Gosaiji's great grace and an accompanied Vaishnava. So there is not really an end to his story. We conclude the reading of day 55 here. And tomorrow we'll continue with Varta 35, the story of one Sanodhya Brahmin who lived in Braj. To Aaj Ke Anand Ki Jai Ho, Sri Gosaiji Ki Jai Ho, Dosabavan Vaishnav Ki Jai Ho, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Ji.